Good afternoon, August 8th. We're going to go over the Wyckoff wave, the Wyckoff wave growth, TLT, and the components of the Wyckoff wave. And we've got the Wyckoff wave in front of us. This is our proprietary software with our OP force and technometer at the bottom. We have been discussing the OP, which is volume, is not acting very well here. This came down to new lows, stays at the new lows. The technometer had been friendly back here when we had given a buy signal and back here at these lows. And since then it's kind of stayed neutral. It's a hair above neutral today, so we thought maybe a pullback to the blue line, but it looks like still the line of least resistance is higher. So we're expected still to try to work higher. Here's the Wyckoff wave growth. Same thing, 3-month chart. We had shown that the OP here is actually continuing to support the advance. Volume has came in. We do have a technometer near overbought, so we do think that this rally could just stay here in the uptrends. And we have a little bit higher to go before it gets to overbought. So once again, could continue to work a little bit higher. We've got the TLT, 20-year U.S. Treasury bond ETF. Here we've talked about wanting to be short. We mentioned it here on this day that we thought this downtrend line had been respected. And we did get to overbought here on the rally, or close to it. We had mentioned that on our last update. So we still think this market is rolling over or going to shortly. So we expect a little more downside. And let's go through the components. We got Boeing. We're going to go to the 1 year, which is what we've been using for most of our charts here. You can see the way we've labeled it with Wyckoff. We've got the upthrust and the test. We do have some poor action here, as you can see, versus the Wyckoff wave. It's acting much worse. That's usually what we're looking for with Wyckoff. And we were oversold on the technometer. We've came back to above neutral with no rally, so this chart still looks a little bearish. Bank of America, 1 year. This is one that we had recommend for our pro traders, so we are long. A new high for the move today. So so far so good. We talked about maybe if the technometer would have came down to oversold, we would have added on. We're not getting that. We're getting a move up to overbought. So it'll be interesting how it performs up here, previous resistance. Hopefully we can get a little bit of a sideways action, a better technometer, and we can add on and expect a jump at a later date. Bristol Myers, one year. We've talked about we don't like the way the OP continuing to go higher while price is really testing a 50% retracement basically back into this little trading range. So it is up today, but we have no real strong opinion here and would probably be short on any further strength and a overbought technometer. Too early to say that yet. Caterpillar. One year. Overbought technometer, which we've been looking for. We had what we call back up to the ice, we think, after falling through the ice. Possibly a test yesterday and then continuing to the downside today. So again, this chart does not look very well. Ford. We've been calling for maybe a test of the spring, which we have had. Volume really, somewhat suspect. It'd be nice to have volume come in here on this rally. So this is one we're watching. We're not sure. It's been a very weak performing stock, so not anxious to be buying this. And now with the technometer at 49, we're definitely not interested in buying. General Electric, 1 year. We talked about being hopefully maybe in some accumulation, but too early to say that. We have had the OP performing horrible while we have had some sideways here in GE. But again, nothing to really hold our hat on. So we're just watching this. Been a horrible performing, and even here recently does not look well. So standing aside. IBM. One year. We've been talking about this, rally back to the ice, and we didn't like this action 2 days ago after the strong rally the day before. Technometer still overbought, so we would probably still expect this one to round over and try the downside, especially when the wave gets overbought or starts a little deeper correction. AT&T. Okay, we talked about this and trying to take out its downtrend line and then possibly testing the spring at a later date. We did come off the oversold levels for the spring. And again, not much to say here. Been a weak stock, so need to get some more work done to call this accumulation. So just going to watch. Union Pacific. We've been talking about this, jumping the creek and backing up to it. We did almost come down to an oversold reading, and we are holding at higher levels above the resistance level. So this is one that will continue to lead us higher, we feel, if these markets stay friendly. Walmart. One year. Same thing, we've talked about this continuing to possibly slowly work higher. We did come off of 38.9 on technometer yesterday. So this one looks like the line of least resistance is higher. Possibly give us a point to buy on maybe a little bit of a pullback somewhere here in the near future. Exxon Mobil. 1 year. We've kind of talked about the trading range that it's been in, and looks like it respected the downside. Technometer is close to overbought, but not there. So not much to add here. I'd rather be short Exxon Mobil, but do not have an area to get that position on as of yet. Dow DuPont. It does appear that we possibly tested the highs of a week and a half ago. Technometer's neutral. Today's sell-off makes this chart still look a little suspect, like we might want to try the downside again. So that's all the components. I will go over a couple more here that we've been watching here. AGCO. This is one that we're interested in, I think, longer term. This 56 level is a creek going back on like the 5-year chart. So we do like to pull back to here. We put this downtrend line in, which would be nice to be able to take that out here. So this is one I think to keep on your radar screens. The ag area has been hard hit, getting harder hit even with the China tariffs, etc. But this could be a long-term buy. So we're going to watch this one. Twilio is one that we talked about, jumping a creek back when it was 25. Let's go back to the 1 year. It had a jump back here and much higher objectives. It did come down here oversold. I was hoping it would spring this area, and it didn't. It was just much too stronger, and earnings drove it considerably higher again. So that one still looks higher. Lumber Liquidators is one that we had traded successfully in the past. We did buy the breakout on here. So now we'd be looking for a rally up maybe to 22 for a last point of support, or possibly this was a shakeout, and you know, we could buy a further test here out in a couple of weeks. So this is one we're still watching. Technometer is coming down to oversold again, and OP and Force have been weak. So one that we do like to trade, but we're going to watch this one on our radars here in the near future. Tractor Supply is another one that we're watching along with AGCO. The chart is really hard to decipher here. We're up to overbought, so we'd like to see maybe some type of pullback. We're back here at previous resistance. But this is one, again, longer term, might be something that, that we want to look at. So that's all we're going to cover right now. If you have anything you want us to look at in the future, feel free to email me, tbutterfield@wycoffsmi.com. And also for at Learn Crypto, if you're trading any cryptos, we still have 20% off our course at learncrypto.io. Use at checkout, use the code 20DOGDAY. That's good for another 6 days. And also, it's not been announced, but I'm going to do a coupon for Wycoff SMI for anything at wycoffsmi.com for 20% off. And just use the code 20Wycoff for 20% off. I'll make that code as I get off here. So good trading. Talk to you again soon.